Have you ever had the eerie sensation that someone was watching you, but when you turned around, no one was there? Or maybe not no one. Maybe something was. Welcome back to another edition of Unknown and Mysterious Creatures, where we explore the strange, the chilling, and the unexplained. I'm your host, JV Torres. Today, we look into one of the most disturbing and widely reported paranormal phenomenon of the modern era, shadow people. Shadow people, also called shadow beings or shadow entities, are dark humanoid figures often seen out of the corner of the eye. They're featureless, silent, and they vanish the moment you try to look at them directly. But those who do manage to see more report something horrifying. But what exactly are shadow people? Shadow people have been reported for centuries, but the term gained mainstream traction after author Heidi Hollis popularized it in her book, The Secret War, a true story about a real alien war and shadow people in 2001. Hollis describes them as malevolent, interdimensional entities that feed on fear and sometimes attach themselves to individuals. Unlike traditional ghosts, shadow people are described as darker than darkness, often seen with no discernible facial features, except in rare cases where glowing red eyes are reported. They move fast, often vanish through walls, and always leave a feeling of dread in their wake. Let's start with one of the most chilling modern cases. A man named Doug from Kansas shared his story in the book True Ghost Stories, Real Haunted Houses and Scary Places by Zachary Knowles.
I was laying in bed when I woke up suddenly. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. Standing in the doorway was a tall black figure. No eyes, no face, just a silhouette darker than the shadows around it. I blinked and it moved. It didn't walk, it glided right to the edge of my bed.
Doug describes a moment of absolute terror. He eventually broke free from what felt like sleep paralysis, and the figure vanished. Across cultures and continents, people have described a specific shadow person wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a long trench coat. He's been seen looming over beds, staring silently. Some believe he's a commander of the shadow beings. Others think he's a demon, or worse. One woman named Carla, featured in a Coast to Coast AM radio episode with Art Bell, recalled,
"He stood in the corner for hours. I couldn't sleep. I prayed, cried, and eventually screamed. And he just faded away, like mist. But I still see him, every few months."
Mainstream science often links shadow people to sleep paralysis, a condition in which the brain wakes before the body, causing hallucinations and temporary paralysis. Neurologist Dr. Baland Jalal from Cambridge University has studied the phenomenon extensively. He claims that seeing shadowy figures during sleep paralysis is the brain's way of trying to interpret sensory confusion while immobilized. But anyone who has experienced sleep paralysis can tell you the feeling is terrifying beyond description. And most of us have experienced vivid dreams that have images we see in our minds, but struggle to describe. But here's the question. Why are the visions so consistent across cultures? From ancient Middle Eastern tales of the jinn to African tribal myths and even modern Reddit threads, these beings are eerily similar. Can sleep paralysis alone explain this phenomenon? And what about those people that see these beings while they are wide awake? There's another theory, that these are not just hallucinations or ghosts, but interdimensional entities. Author and paranormal researcher Rosemary Ellen Goulet, before her passing, suggested that shadow people are beings from a parallel dimension that occasionally bleed into our reality. She wrote in The Jinn Connection that
shadow people may actually be jinn in disguise, ancient beings who can cross dimensions and manipulate human perception.
this aligns with accounts where people claim their electronics flicker, radios hiss, or clocks stop when shadow people appear. So, what are shadow people? Paranormal watchers? Demons? Hallucinations? Or something else entirely? Something that watches from the periphery of our reality, just waiting for us to let our guard down? Maybe tonight, in your room, they're watching you right now. If you've seen a shadow person or felt one near, you're not alone. Visit our website or share your story in the comments section of this episode. And remember, the next time you catch movement in the corner of your eye, don't be too quick to look away. Thank you for listening to Unknown and Mysterious Creatures. Until next time, stay curious and stay in the light.
New Kingdom Radio Theatre.